Alright guys, so in this video I am going to be discussing and speculating on what's going to be happening to the Oakland Coliseum if the A's end up moving to Vegas. There's been a few different renderings of how the area could be repurposed. This one probably had the most notoriety. This came out back in 2019, and this was a rendering developed by the A's. If they would have stayed in Oakland and gone to Howard Terminal, how would the land be redeveloped? And you can see it looks like that's the Coliseum right there. They took out all the seating except for the lower bowl, and it seems very unlikely that would actually happen. There was a tweet. It says the Athletics plan for the Oakland Coliseum site would retain the field portion of the stadium, but make it into a community field and amphitheater. The current Oracle Arena building would stay as a venue for concerts, etc. And then they would also put up different affordable housing options and things like that. Again, this was if the A's were to stay in Oakland. And if the Howard Terminal deal gets accepted, of course, we don't think that's going to be happening. There's another proposal from a long time ago. You know, look at that. That is a brand new, looks like MLB stadium located right on the footprint of the Oakland Coliseum, maybe a little bit to the left of it. And then a new, looks like MLS soccer stadium also put up with a bunch of soccer fields and baseball diamonds for public use as well. This, of course, is not happening either. I've never seen that stadium rendering for Oakland. I think that was just like a bare bones attempt at what it would look like if they decided to repurpose it for an MLB stadium. Of course, there are issues with doing that. You would have to play your games elsewhere for 2 years as the new stadium gets built if you build it on the same footprint, because you'd have to demolish the Coliseum. There's also different photos, kind of rare photos of soccer games happening at the Coliseum. You know, we've seen this before with multi-purpose stadiums hosting events, but I've never seen the Coliseum with a soccer game going on, so that is interesting. And then there also is another proposal. This is the newer proposal that we kind of heard about. The parking lot of the Coliseum being turned into a smaller soccer stadium. The Oakland Roots is the soccer club that submitted a lease for a proposed temporary stadium right around the Coliseum. The Athletics downtown development plan included a redevelopment of the Coliseum site, as well as retaining Oakland Arena while tearing down the Coliseum and exploring upgrades to the rest of that property. Of course, if the team does move to Las Vegas, my speculation would be they would knock down the Coliseum. There's no need for it in Oakland. It's completely outdated. It sits 70,000 people. You know, it's very ugly, and they would just knock it down and repurpose it as, you know, whatever. Also, you would have the parking lots to repurpose. I don't know how much longer Oracle Arena has, or Oakland Arena. They do use it for concerts and magic shows, so maybe it would stick around a little while longer, but I do think that Oracle Arena's fate is sealed as well, because it's just too old and it looks really crappy. So I would imagine most of this would probably get repurposed and redeveloped. Maybe you could turn it into a temporary soccer stadium. Maybe, you know, the idea that you would tear down most of the Coliseum while leaving up the field, that's virtually unheard of. I don't think I've seen that well, actually it does happen with the really old historic MLB stadiums. They'll tear it down and then they'll make it like a tribute to the stadium. Let's be honest, folks, we're not giving out the Coliseum. The Coliseum doesn't need a tribute with its history there. I mean, it's had a long run, but I do think in the end it'll just get knocked down completely, and then the land will be repurposed if they do move to Las Vegas. If somehow the Howard Terminal deal ends up going through, which, let's be honest, it's not going to go through, but if it somehow did, I know they're talking like maybe that's a backup plan. The Oakland mayor wants it to happen. You could maybe see the Athletics ownership actually repurpose this land, but if they move, I think they'll just abandon it. And then we did just get this update. It says the Oakland A's and Nevada legislators are expected to announce details of a deal to fund a new stadium on the Las Vegas Strip today. The state and county are set to contribute $325 million total plus tax breaks. And that deal still does need to be approved, but it is getting introduced and brought to the table. That is just another step to the ongoing saga of the situation, the relocation project of the Oakland Athletics, turning them into the Las Vegas A's. I'm sure it's going to happen. It just takes time. There's speed bumps. There's negotiations. There's, they want more money. They're going to negotiate it down. And now we're at a point to where the deal looks like it's being brought, and we'll see if it gets approved for the Vegas site. If that happens, I'm sure we will get the official renderings. It is confirmed. It is going to be a retractable roof stadium with a capacity of 30,000. I would imagine it will be expanded, with standing room to 35K. That's a very small number. It's almost like I was just looking at MLS soccer stadiums. MLS stadiums are closing in terms of capacity on MLB stadiums. MLS stadiums are at they're building new ones with a capacity of 25K. And the MLB is at 30,000 is a small number. I did not think they would go that low. But I've seen multiple times now they're talking about it. No, it's going to be 30K with maybe standing room up to 35K when it hosts big events. I'm sure it's going to get the All-Star game, 2029, 2028, whenever the stadium opens. They're going to do that. So that is the current situation with Vegas. And when it comes to the Oakland Coliseum, what happens to it? It's probably going to be abandoned by the A's if they do move. They're not going to repurpose it. They're not going to want anything to do with it. And then it will just be very likely turned into community space, maybe apartments. There's a lot of parking there, of course. That's going to have to be turned into something. There's the idea that maybe a soccer stadium goes in there, at least a temporary one, into the parking lot. But if they do leave the Coliseum, there's just no hope the Coliseum has at surviving, I would say, past the year 2026. If the lease is up in 2024, they would be out of there after next year, which they have to be. Everyone knows this is not sustainable. The A's are one of the worst teams probably in MLB history. And I'm not trying to sound dramatic. I mean, what are they, 10-40 right now? They've got a negative 180 run differential or something like that. So this is just not sustainable. The attendance is going to drop under 2K probably very soon. And the goal for them has got to be, even if it's to a minor league park, it is better than playing home games at the Coliseum because the fan support is nothing for obvious reasons. And it looks like the Coliseum will very likely be getting torn down probably 2025 or 2026. It's not going to be repurposed into an amphitheater. That's just ridiculous. So we'll have to see what ends up happening on that. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.